professional dog trainer. If you have a dog and you want to teach him how to eat people, John is your man. John is also an expert on security for large complexes. He used to do Section 8 housing, security for Section 8 housing. Today, he's doing security for most of the major gun shows in the state of Florida. He's an exceptional young man. If you have a question about security, don't be afraid to ask him. If you have a question about purchasing property that might be iffy and finding the right people to work that security problem out for you, John's the guy to talk to. He's also a cop. But he doesn't spit his back on the floor. Hopefully, anyway.
Nasty guy.
Joan Sitting Bull is a young lady with the camera in blouse. She runs an organization called International Chrysalis. It's an art and educational program, nonprofit for children. We also work with veterans groups. So we try to raise money and awareness for veterans. So are there any veterans in the room tonight besides you? My twin brother over here. Sir, we got it. Thank you. We appreciate it. I do have, the thing with training martial artists is you start training martial artists, they're young kids, they all want to go out and fight, and we've had a very successful career doing that. Then they grow up and they want to serve their country, most of them. Most of my students were either in the military or again in the police department. I have one of my students that just became a fire chief in our hometown. I have another student that's a judge. And I know I look very young, but I guess I must be older than I look.
Look young to me.
Thank you, brother. I pay him too, it's all good. That's my money. If you want to accomplish things in your life, in my opinion, my humble opinion, you get more done by giving than you ever do by taking. And my whole life has been geared towards that. I grew up in a very poor neighborhood on the wrong side of the track. I did everything wrong. And you're going to see some of that towards the end of this day. I'll show you a PowerPoint of my life. We'll let Dan introduce me, and then we'll do some of the other stuff that we've got planned here for tonight. Dan Lauer.
My name is Dan Lauer, and I'm with the Detroit Tigers baseball team. Back in 2012, I met Larry Stoney Stone for the very first time as we welcomed him out to a spring training baseball game where we recognized him as a local hero of the game. And today, I want to tell you a little bit more about my friend. Larry Stoney Stone did not grow up in a traditional little boy's environment. Unlike his healthy siblings, his life began as an extraordinary journey of challenges right from the beginning. The moment-to-moment challenges of walking with specialized crutches and carrying out the tasks of living, which most people take for granted, have shaped his steadfast determination and commitment to live as actively and passionately as possible every single day. During his life journey, and despite his physical challenges, Stoney has chosen many paths of experience, including being a published author, commercial and movie stunt coordinator, international keynote speaker, and rock band singer on the road for 20 years, to name just a few. Overcoming all the odds of his significant physical challenges, he studied martial arts to become a martial arts grandmaster, attaining black belts in 4 different systems. He has mentored and produced 21 black belts, 4 Florida State karate champions, 3 Southeast karate champions, a number 7 super heavyweight world karate kickboxer, and a number 1 amateur world karate kickboxer. He has also inspired one of the world's foremost martial artists, grandmaster, Tuhan Ray Dionaldo, founder of FCS Kali. Stoney's training continues to be harnessed today through training others in personal and professional development, security specialist training with tactical weapons and firearm training. He's also sought out as an executive protection consultant for executive transport, risk analysis, strategic insight, conflict resolution, and asset acquisition. Stoney's love of traditional martial arts inspired him to start Ishido martial arts 30 years ago. It has been his deep passion ever since to establish an arena that promotes the foundational principles of life: and also creates a safe place for kids to learn and grow into confident young adults. Stoney was inducted into the Martial Arts Hall of Fame in 2000 for his loyalty and dedication to making a difference in other people's lives. Many of Stoney's friends and students think of him as a real-life incarnation of Star Wars Master Yoda. Even today, after battling his physical limitations and being a cancer survivor, these challenges in his life have only served as a catalyst to the mastery of the mental and spiritual powers that lie at the center of the martial arts. If you think that martial arts are about nothing more than physical combat, then you need to listen to this man speak. You will leave with the assurance that you are closer to the true nature of the Force. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome my friend, Larry Stoney Stone.
This is where they throw money. Usually I'm off stage and I cry a little bit, I blow my nose, and then I come up on stage. I'm not going to do that today. I get emotional about my life because a lot of it was impossible. A lot of it was people shaking their head no, saying no. No way, that's not going to happen. Right from the time that I was in school. I said I was born in 1949, and it was, I consider my life and my birth a mixed emotion for me. It's, there was a time when I was growing up, and at the same time, I was born an identical twin. So I could see from day one what it was going to be like if I was Terry, because Terry is healthy, has no physical problems at all, but I was living Larry's life. So it was hard sometimes, because I couldn't figure out why me. You know, what have I done to have this happen to me? And Terry's out enjoying his life and doing crazy things, and I was struggling. I couldn't walk until I was 5 years old. I was raised pretty much by 3 grandmothers, and we gave them nicknames. The first grandmother we called Bill Grandma. She took a lot of pills in the morning. She was a very happy lady, and as long as she had her pills, we were happy. Everything was good. The second grandmother we nicknamed Coffee Grandma. She would wake up in the morning, she'd give us a great big cup of coffee, 200 scoops of sugar, and I would rock it. You know, so I liked Coffee Grandma. And then my third grandmother was perhaps the hardest to understand, but later on, and I didn't realize until I was about 56 years old how important she was. She would place me at the bottom of the stairs in my house, and she would spank me and make me go up the stairs because I couldn't walk. And she thought I was being obstinate, hard to get along with, and she'd spank me and I'd go up another one. And when you're 5 years old and you're looking up at the top of the stairs and you're thinking, I'm not going to be able to do this, this is impossible. But at the end of those beatings, and at the end of what turned out to be a pretty long day, I made it to the top. So when I wrote my first book, I was 56, and I sat down and my sister was telling me stories about my grandmother. It was then that I realized that she really was the monster that created this guy that doesn't know how to fail. So if I had to attribute everything in my life to the person that set a fire under me, it would be my grandmother Stone. What a blessing. When I was 9 years old, I got to a point where I was in so much pain I couldn't walk, and my parents put me into Shriners Children's Hospital in Springfield, Massachusetts. And I spent 3 years of my life between the age of 10 and 16. And I had 14 operations, a lot of other things that went on. I got out of the hospital when I was 16 years old, and went back home. I was kind of depressed. I couldn't get a date if I had $100 bills falling out of my pocket, and I couldn't understand because my brother had a line of women. He was a very accomplished dater and very popular in school. So I had to figure out a way around that in my mind. I had some friends that were in the rock and roll business, so I started running sound and lights for them. They were in New York City and they were doing a show there, and the singer didn't show up one night. So the drummer and the guitar player came up to me and they said, "Look, we know you know these songs. They're going to have to get up there and sing tonight." And I said, I can't do that. Crippled people don't do that. And they said, "Well, you're going to have to do it tonight. You just have to do it. You need this job." So I said, "Go get me a big hat and I'll fold it down in front of my face. Nobody will recognize me, and I'll try." And I went up on stage that night and I spent the next 20 years in classic rock band touring the country. So the woman problem grew big. That was kind of cool. But along with that came a lot of other things, because in those days, a lot of the college payments were in drugs and alcohol and entertainment. So I ended up doing a lot of drugs, a lot of alcohol, a lot of crazy things, got thrown out of every hotel. The norm in those days was demolish everything and go home. Play, go to the hotel, demolish everything, go home. And I did that for 20 years. Now, halfway through that, I realized that the drinking and the smoking and the doing drugs probably wasn't the best thing, so I stopped. And it was a lot different world that I lived in. While I was on the road, I opened for bands like Kansas, Yes, Styx, Genesis, and some of those people are still friends today. The last album that I created was an album that was produced by a group that was really put together by Phil Collins, and it was put together to feed the homeless in the state of Florida. So I volunteered, I wrote a song. That song became one of the songs on this album, created the album, and my band ended up being the headline act for the next few concerts we did for them. That was in 2006. So I haven't been in the band business since, but I still once in a while go hang out with some of our friends. Al Petrelli from Trans-Siberian Orchestra is a dear friend. We'll go hang out with him. Some of the other guys from Molly Hatchet and Leonard Skinner are still hanging around. So we go hang out with them. But that's another story. So like I said, the women problem went away and turned into another problem, because now I couldn't figure out, I'm doing this and I'm trying to figure out what do I want to do with my life. At the same time I was on the road, I was learning martial arts. We did that when we were in a town, we were in Vermont, we got nothing to do for a week. So we just go to a park somewhere and practice martial art. I didn't get my first black belt until 82, because I really wasn't studying martial arts for a black belt. I was studying for just for the entertainment for myself and for the guys, and hopefully not get killed the next job that we played, and some baby's wife was standing behind stage and ended up in a problem that way. Anyway, but we started getting heavy into martial arts. Started training a lot of very good martial artists, and like Dan said, I've been very successful with kickboxers and with military and police. When we started working with people like Nate was working in Tampa here with one of my other black belts, and so I would come over and I would hang out with them. Today, that gentleman teaches in 92 countries, so we're pretty spread out. Nate is working toward Ireland, Germany.
Indonesia, France, Greece, multiple places in the Philippines.
And he works with the Philippine Marines and people like that. So he's training unique people that you would think would have a great knowledge of edged weapons and blunt trauma weapons. Blunt trauma is my website. It's not really a website, it's a page on Facebook. If you want to go there, you're more than welcome to go there. just lunchround.com will take you there. On that page, you'll find our martial arts page, you'll find, I think John's page is on there connected to mine, and I know Nate's page is on there. Nate's page is bloodandbonestactical.com. bloodandbonestactical.com. There's some business cards up here if you want to pick them up before you go. You're more than welcome to them. There's some stickers up there supporting the military. If you want to take one of them, take one of them. The books are there. This is the last book I wrote. And that book, I donate a portion of the sales of the book towards a young lady named Maddie Blankenshop. And I'll explain a little bit about her later on. Can you contact Tony and see where the hell he is? All right? Tom, I really didn't want to kill anybody today, but if I have to, it couldn't be anybody to do the thing. Understand? Her family first. That's my mom. Young people. Got some new young people in the school. It's a lot of fun having them around. I wanted to play another short video for you. It's in the world we live in today. I think this is pertinent. Now, some people are going to like it, some people aren't. It's like I had somebody ask me the other day, do you think that older people become nasty or snobbish? You know what I find out about myself? A lot of Navy SEALs think that as they get older, that people think they're less dangerous. I'm going to tell you that a lot of my friends that are Navy SEALs are more dangerous the older they get because they really don't care. Going to jail is not a big deal. It's 3 meals a day and education if you want it. So that's not a deterrent anymore. If violence has to be perpetrated, you don't want it done by one of those older people, I guarantee it. So just do the best you can to be a good person. One of my very best friends has been in the Navy for 31 years. He's been a Navy SEAL for 29 years. And his name is Command Master Tom Keith. He comes with us once in a while at our events. I'm going to be doing an interview with him and posting it on our website. So if you want to really, and he's written a couple of books. The last one he wrote was Navy SEALs, Death in the Dark. If you want to read a pretty good book. Oh no, this isn't good. How you doing? Hi, family.
Hey.
You gotta do good in front of family. If you don't do good in front of family, then tell everybody else. That's not good, is it? And that gentleman with the sunglasses on the back of his head, because he's not sure where to put them, is Clint Twink. His nickname is Bear.
How you going?
The middle name is Bear, legally, right?
Yes.
That scares me to death. Anyway, Nate is a private investigator. He's also does security for, he's done it for the RNC and people like that, correct?
Yes, sir.
For FEMA, places like that. So if you have a question about security, don't be afraid to talk to that guy. He's almost as smart as I am. He's not nearly as good looking as I am, but he's trying hard. So, we all have a cross to bear, right? I'm going to play this video, and like I said, some people are going to agree, some are not. I want you to understand that I have a point of view. Let me repeat it. I have a point of view. My days of being shy and being afraid to tell you what I think are long gone. If you ask me a question, I'm going to give you an answer. It's going to be as honest and as straightforward as it can be from me and any of my people. We're not here to hurt anybody's feelings. We're here to tell you the truth. And it seems like the truth scares the shit out of people today. And that's unfortunate. But it really does. We've turned into a world where making people feel comfortable is more important than saying what needs to be said. I have a partner in Canada. When I go to Canada and do talks there, her name is Wendy Gardner. She always says, when she's ready to tell the truth, it's about time to have a courageous conversation. Because somebody's not going to like what you have to say. But this video is something I think everybody should hear. Nate, will you do me a favor? Try to find a light up here to turn these lights off here.